Welcome to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Welcome back to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. I'm your host, KJ Green. I am a product leader, entrepreneur, and a lover of all things technology. And today's guest is a very, very special guest. We go way back, way back. Today's guest is redefining what it means to build a consumer brand with intention. Lexx Mills is the CEO and co-founder of Stursi, an award-winning and non-alcoholic cocktail brand rooted in sisterhood, health, and zero compromise. Lexx, welcome to the show, and please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much for having me, KJ. I feel like you summed it up very, very well. But I think a great place to start is our origin story, why my sister and I created Stursi. So my sister Liv has been a mixologist for over a decade. She's a certified specialist of spirit, but alcohol started causing her health issues. So we wanted mocktails that taste like real cocktails. So we created Stursi. We went on this journey over about 2 years, figure out how to get amazing recipes in the cans. We started off in a commercial kitchen, making it ourselves and doing mocktail bars for corporate clients. Meanwhile, doing all this other work behind the scenes. And in August of 2025, we launched our premium mocktail line. So very excited about just the journey ahead. Very thankful for all of the support and the recognition that we've gotten over the last few months. I'm just excited to keep this thing going. 'Cause we got to go straight to the top.
I've been following y'all from the very beginning and through the name change, through let's talk about that. Like,
Yes.
what happened? I mean, we love the current name and the current brand that you all
Mhm.
have pushed forward, but let's talk about the name change a little bit.
Yeah, so we started off with Revel, which is now one of our flavor names. And we went to when we were doing the trademark research process, we found out there was another brand called Revel. It was spelled differently, but it doesn't and it's not a mocktail, but it is in they group all non-alcoholic beverages in the same trademark category. And so essentially after several opinions, it was just like, it's probably not gonna work and you'll probably waste your money and time. So come up with something else. And we had already been out in the world as Revel. We love the name, people love the name. And so to figure out what is something else that we can love just as much, if not more. And so, we continue being out there in the world all the while for months, working on the new name. And it gave us also an opportunity to elevate our brand as well and to, yeah, just make it even more us. And so Stursi is actually our reimagining of the word sister. So Stursi is sister. And how I got that name was I was playing around with a word scramble machine and I was just putting words in there that we say as sisters, things that are associated with our brand. And one of the things that I put in there was sister, but if my sister says it, so sometimes like say my sister. And I put it in there and it came out as Stursi. And my sister saw it and she's like, "I like that." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." And we just played around with the spelling. So it literally is sister.
You know what, Lex? You just added to the dictionary. We need to give you an award. You just put a word in the Webster dictionary. I love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're because we're all about gathering, and so having our name means sister, and just that love and represent that love we have for each other, how we're building this business and this brand together, and everything that we pour into what we're creating. Yeah, it's just awesome. It really fits really well. So it was sad at first when we had to change it, but it's like it was a blessing in disguise.
I agree. I totally agree. And it just fits the whole narrative. God works
God
mysterious
be
ways.
working.
Well, welcome to the show. One question I want to kind of lead us off with, just because we talked about the origin story, we went through talking about the name change. is Sturtsy started from a deeply personal health journey. Can you walk us through that moment when you realize this isn't a lifestyle change, really product gap in the market?
Yeah. So my sister and I, we have been wanting to start a business together basically forever. She's always been an entrepreneur, a creative, and I've always been on the academic corporate side. And so I knew that if we came together, like we could do something really magical. But we weren't sure what that thing was going to be. And this inspiration came because alcohol started causing my sister these painful gut pains. And she realized it was alcohol that was triggering it. At the same time, when she was working at the bar, she's seeing drinking culture change, that people are not drinking. Not only are people not drinking alcohol the way they used to, but they are really craving something else. Not just the juice that's available and the mocktails that were available weren't doing it. They're like, "What else do you have?" And we were also trying the mocktails on the market ourselves, and they didn't taste like cocktails to us. It was not what we wanted. So, we knew that there was a gap that we were uniquely, able to solve. My sister, like I said, my sister's an incredible mixologist. She has always spoiled me with her cocktails. I would go to other places and be like, this ain't good." And so I knew that if there was anybody that could make an amazing mocktail, it was her. And so when she came to me with this idea, she was like, "Girl, I finally know what we doing. We doing mocktails." I was like, "Okay." And at that time, I hadn't done the market research yet. I literally was just going based off of she's on the front lines. If she's saying this is what we should do. But then shortly thereafter, I started researching the industry and realized very quickly, I'm like, oh, this is one of the fastest growing category in beverage. This is absolutely what we should be doing. And so we just got started and just put one foot. We had no idea what it would take to get here. And I always say, thank God we didn't know. If we had known all the 50,000,011 steps that it would take to get to this point, we would have thought that we couldn't do it. We wouldn't have started, and we would have been wrong. And we just had to put one foot in front of the other every day. And like I said, it took us from the time that we came up with the idea to actually getting it into the can, it took about 2 years. So, yeah, I'm very proud of us that we got started and didn't give up.
I love that. I love that. Wow. Wow. And so organic. And you're right. Like, I think if you knew all of the steps, you would have immediately, it would have been an immediate no.
We were like, "Hell no."
No, we'll keep these jobs. But I love that y'all took the leap of faith. But
Right.
I mean, with building a business with your sister, how did that shape your relationship and early like decision making as co-founders, co-workers, sister and co-worker,
Y Yes, it has it's so funny. It's actually made us the closest we have ever been. It is such a blessing to be able to build this business with my sister, and my mom is in it with us too, and it's like we have our own little sorority. As we're building this business, we're together all the time. That's what we talk about all the time. And so many people, they say to me, either they wish they could work with their sibling or, like, they wouldn't be able to do it, and, um but for us, it makes it work so well is because we have so much love and respect and admiration for each other and what each of us uniquely contributes. This business does not exist without either of us. My sister, in addition to being, like, an incredible mixologist, she's also a graphic and a web designer and a brand builder. She's had her own web design studio for, like, 7 or more years at this point. And so all of our not only does she do all of our formulations, everything creative that you see more that comes out of Stursi, she has created. And so that means that we are able to make our vision come to life in such a unique way because we do all of it in-house. It's literally like whatever we talk about, whatever we dream, like, and we spent months talking about this brand, what we wanted to look like, what we wanted it to feel like. And my sister was able to take all of that and actually create it. And so it's just been amazing. And as for me, having that business and economic development background. I'm the CEO. I always say it's her job to make it, it's my job to sell it. So I'm the person that's out in the world building the partnerships, selling it,
Yeah.
doing the events, big and small, telling our story and getting as many people to know about us and try it.
Wow, yeah, putting that top MBA to work. But did you always have an entrepreneurial bug? I know you were more, when we first met, you were
Mhm.
more aligned with like the urban planning, public service, nonprofit space. So where
Yeah.
did this come from? This
I've
entrepreneur bug?
always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but it was scary. I was like, because I had, especially being in economic development, I was around entrepreneurs and small businesses all the time because that was my job was to, whatever place I was working at, it was around developing and leveraging resources to support entrepreneurs. And so I would hear from them, how difficult it is. And I was like, oh, I really like these biweekly checks. That's hard. Not gonna be knowing what's coming, when it's coming, and all that kinda stuff, but I always wanted to yeah, I was always interested in being an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what I would do. But while I was at Ross getting my MBA, I had, like, my first little entrepreneurial stint. I did this program that was around, like, basically helping you, like, build out a concept. And long story short, I had this relationship program. I had interviewed 41 people about their breakups because I had gotten out of a 5-year relationship at the beginning of my MBA. So I was just really curious about relationships and breakups and all that kind of stuff. And so after those, as a result, during those interviews, I was like, basically had like a blog on Instagram and was distilling what I learned from all those people into what I could also share with the masses. And so that was a thing I like was building from like nothing. Well, worked on that for about like a year and a half, did a couple of events. And yeah, really enjoyed the process of building, but definitely I would never want to be an entrepreneur by myself. I'm really like when people say it can be very isolating, that's very true. It's also a lot of damn work. And so when you have to do everything by yourself. And so even with me, my mom, and my sister, there's much so much to do. And I'm thankful that I have such an amazing team and we're continuing to build out our team because in order to grow, we need more capacity. But yeah, entrepreneurship, I would say you gotta be a little bit crazy. You gotta be a little bit crazy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's you a little you got yes, you do. And you got to and you it is I was just the biggest faith walk I've ever taken. Cause and like I'm a very spiritual person. And my spiritual self, I know this is what's happening. This is what's happening. But my human self be like, we don't know what's tomorrow is looking like. We don't exactly know when all of this stuff is gonna matriculate. And you got to be investing, depending on what business you're doing, but definitely manufacturing. You need to be putting up thousands of dollars long before you will ever see a return on it and believe that people are going to buy it. I remember when we put one ingredient we bought, it was $4,000. And I remember we did like a little prayer circle. I was me, my mom, my sister, and I was affirming. It's like, yes, we're taking, this is our first big ingredient, our first big purchase. And it's all coming, it's all gonna work out, y'all.
I received that. Hallelujah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, it is an isolating journey. And I think a lot of people don't understand, especially like if have friends in corporate America, they may not always get it. Because corporate, the 9 to 5 is guaranteed. Well,
It
not
sure is.
we know in this economy,
Yeah.
it
But to an
depends,
extent,
but
yeah.
to an extent, yeah, yeah, more than the initial investments that you have to put forward, not necessarily knowing what will come of it. But let's talk about just like how you built Sturtsy, the product, the brand, the trade-offs that you had to make. So Sturtsy positions itself as more than a mocktail. I mean, you guys like to say it as a whole damn mood, which I love. How intentional was that language and the cultural aspect of the drink?
Oh, very intentional. One of the things that we saw about 99.9% of the mocktails on the market were that they were very much in the traditional health and wellness lane. So, like a white can, functional ingredients. So your for folks who don't they may not know the term like adaptogens and nootropics, but think of them adaptogens, well, like the natural ones anyway, like plant-based ingredients are supposed to give you some kind of like mood boost and nootropics. The naptor there's non-natural ones, but anyway, natural ones or maybe give you like something like heightened focus or something like that. So there's supplements. And but basically, like a supplement, a lot of them taste like medicine. And so, yes, a lot of people are choosing to moderate their alcohol consumption for health and wellness reasons. But we believe a cocktail should still taste like a cocktail. And that it is a cocktail is an indulgent experience. That is what it's supposed to be. And so we wanted our mocktails to taste like a real cocktail and to give you that full, authentic, sophisticated, bold flavored cocktail experience just without the alcohol. And so that meant not only in terms of the ingredients that we use so that it acted so give like being very thoughtful about the flavor profiles that we were creating, but also our brand. Our brand had to be sexy. It had to be cool. It had to be fun. And because those moments of indulgence that cocktails are designed for, that is the vibe. Is the whether it's like fun and self-care for yourself or we're being in community and celebration with other people. And that is a whole different kind of wellness. It's belonging, not the wellness of we are stripping things away from ourselves. And so that is what we're about. So all of that was very, very intentional.
I love that. I love that. I love that you didn't ride the wave of what what you thought that you had to go. Because I think a lot of brands often just kind of align to these, and I'm not knocking the plant-based, industry and products, but I think you're pushing forth a product that's meant to keep the mood and to drop cultural aspects behind of it rather than like, oh, we're just like here on the shelf.
Exactly, exactly. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't want one woman, she said, I will never forget this. I'm like, she gets it. And she was like, so much of the stuff on the market are sparkling vitamins in a can. And I'm like, yes, that's what yes, it's like and there is a place for that. There is a place for that, but to us, that's not a cocktail, and there are people who love that, and that's amazing, and we wanted something completely different because that's not what we wanted for ourselves, and we have met a bunch of other people that wanted what we are bringing to the market as well. So we use real fruit juice ingredients.
Mhm.
We use a mindful amount of real cane sugar because it tastes good, okay? And that's again, that's what we're here for. We want mindful, real cocktail experiences that still taste amazing just without the alcohol.
I love that. I love that. And how did you balance just like with that intentionality of using real products, using cane sugar, skipping the adaptogens? How did you balance taste, health, and scalability as you grow?
Yes, it was very challenging because we wanted it to taste exactly like what my sister made behind the bar. And of course, that's using fresh ingredients. And we were not willing to settle. And my sister had to learn how to formulate it herself and to take what she would make behind the bar and how do you turn that into a scalable manufacturing process. And it took a while. It took a while. But again, we were not willing to compromise. And my sister's a genius and she figured it out. What you'll notice a lot of things that are on the market are carbonated. Mainly, there'll be sparkling water, and extracts. And for us, choosing to use real fruit juice concentrates and purees, it's expensive. That is so being mindful of, like, how much it costs to produce a product as well. But again, it was worth it. Like, we were not going to put anything out there that we weren't proud of, that we wouldn't drink ourselves. Like, it had to align with the vision that we started with of truly tasting like a fresh cocktail, like how my sister makes it behind the bar. And we've achieved that. And so we have it is a premium luxury mocktail. It's a cocktail, it just doesn't have alcohol in it.
I love that. I love that. So thinking more broadly on as you're scaling, you guys are everywhere, literally everywhere. But as you're scaling, how do you maintain authenticity to the brand, with partnerships, distribution, and really as your visibility has increased?
And it really is about being willing to take our time and being willing to it really comes down to being willing to take our time because there are lots of different channels, like, of ways that you could there's so many different ways you could do this. You could Most people, they try to go the route of getting their product into stores, so retail. There's the bars and restaurant, the on-premise channel, that's one. Of course, hopefully, when you're starting out, you have your direct to consumer. And there's even within those things, there's all kind of different like offshoots as well. Different people you can partner with. Bringing on a distributor, and we explored like all the really what we came down to is it's really important for us to be in control of the experience of how people discover and experience Stursi. So we all come from a hospitality background, and that cocktail experience has to carry through not only in the flavor of the can, but also that experience that you have with us as well. So when we show up and we do events, we show up and put so much, like, we want you to feel all of the love and passion, that hospitality and that service of of a premium cocktail experience. And we're very mindful of who we partner with and where we are selling our product, and because also there's a story that goes along with it that has to be told as well. And also the math has to math. And when you are working with these retailers and distributors and the bars and the restaurants, the amount of margin that they wanna make more money off your product than you make off. You poured your blood, sweat, and tears into making this thing, and the way they want the math work is they gonna get more than you make. It's like, I don't think so. And so that has been that has been challenging as well in terms of finding the right partners to work with, but they are there. And again, it's about taking your time and being willing to find the right partners because, you're gonna make mistakes regardless. That's just entrepreneurship, that's human, that's life. But at least when you are able to take the time and have some patience, you can take the time to find people and the opportunities that are aligned and really be able to see, what is the right next step to take. And there's definitely been so many moments, especially after we initially launched, 'cause it was a whole new phase of the business. The first 2 years were, how do we get it into the can and get it to the market? And then it was launched. It was like, okay, now what do we do? How do we market and sell it? This is a whole new chapter that we have to learn how to do. And everything for us is starting from zero. Like, this is not like, my background is economic development. My sister's background is hospitality. So this is a whole new industry for us. And having to learn how to do it from scratch and giving ourselves the grace to be able to do that, but also being able to lean on mentors, putting ourselves in the right communities and networks where we can ask questions and really get into the nitty-gritties to help us make the right decisions is really helpful.
Wow. Yeah. That's really, really, really good. And I love how you laid out the different chapters because I think oftentimes, when we think about creating a business, launching a business, we don't think about the chapters that you have to go through make that happen for real. And every step you learn something different. What chapter would you say you are today that you and Liv are
Ooh.
in today with the business?
Would say that we are in the chapter of well, yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is because this is what I've been telling people about when they ask, "How's it going? How are things?" I say, the first 2 years, I talked about, it was like how to get into Canada. I was like, that was like being pregnant. It's like we were pregnant for 2 years. And then launching was like giving birth. And then it's like postpartum depression. It's like, okay, no, how do I raise this child? She's crying. I don't know what she wants. I don't know what to do. And so, and that was real. Of course, after, working to build something for 2 years too, there's also, burnout that comes from that. But again, it's a whole new chapter. So you gotta rest, take a step back, and then come back in there to get ready to do to learn all these other new things you gotta do to do this thing next. And so I'm thankful for like all of the awards and the increasing the recognition. That is amazing, and it's a great stamp of validation of all the work that we put in to get to this point. But right now, we are the best mocktail that most of the world doesn't know about yet. So there is still
I
so
love
much
it.
yes, and my goal is that's what I'm telling people right now at the beginning of 2026. I should be saying something very, very different at the beginning of 2026. That is what we are working on this year, is visibility, and brand recognition and trial. Getting as many people to know about us and try Stursi as possible. That is what this year is about. 'Cause what we've seen is that when people try it, they're sold. But there's so many things, everyone is so busy, so busy. So being able to get that moment of attention, to be able for people to be able to have that opportunity to discover you. It can cost a lot of money, time, energy, and, we're a startup right now. And so we have to find ways to do that align with the stage that we're in. And right now we've seen like being in person, just like there's really nothing. It's being in person, it's having those real experiences with people. People get to really experience our brand the way it's meant to be experienced. And word of mouth. When people because people, of course, as we know, word of mouth is very powerful. People, oh, you tried it? It's good. Especially too, we're working within a market where there are so many bad mocktails. People have been burned by a lot of disgusting stuff. And so in food and beverage period, people need to be able to taste it. People don't want to buy stuff that they're not sure that they're going to like. That's a risk. And so we have to have as many opportunities as possible for people to be able to try it, to de-risk that decision. So they know, "Oh, this actually is really, really, really good." We love it. Our favorite thing is when people they're like, "You sure there's no alcohol here?" "Sure. 0% alcohol. I know it's good." And also too, when they're like trying to figure out like what their favorite one is, they're like, "Oh," I was like, it's like, "I love that you're having that's my favorite problem for you to have. I love that for you and for us." And in terms of trials, also why we created our tasting flights where people they get to try all three of our cocktails in for $15 because we know it's a big commitment to buy a 12-pack or a 24-pack of something that you've never tried before and you're not sure if you're going to like it. And so we wanted to reduce that barrier and give folks a chance to have that first experience, that first date with us and see, are you ready to see where it goes? You ready to commit now?
I love it. And I love that language, the first date. See, the branding, I love the branding of Cersei. But talking about branding, what surprised you most about becoming the face of Cersei? Like what surprised you?
Mm. I would say it's one of the first things that comes to mind is people aren't used to seeing Black founders of products. And I would say like beverages specifically because it is a very capital intensive industry to be in. It's mostly, white male founders. And so when we, when we're in person and we're doing events, people they're like, "Oh, is this your company?" Like we get asked that all the time. Like even though I'm literally telling the story of like this is what happened to my sister. It's be like, "Ah, this is y'all." Yes, we are the owners of the company. And they're like,
People are
and
wild.
but but also too, I get at the same time because like how when you go into the store, you don't see us represented. You don't, and so and they're excited. They're like, "Oh my god!" And they're excited about that to see that representation. So, and I think so that's one of the things that's been surprising. But I think also too, people don't really get to meet founders as often either. And people are really curious. People really are curious to hear the story of how and why people are building something. Like we really are in an era where people want to feel a connection to the brands that they are choosing to support. And I think that that is amazing. I love that. And I really appreciate when people telling me I'm a good saleswoman. Actually, whenever I do, 'cause I got, I got the spiel down now between the all the tastings and the pitch competitions, like the s the spiel is down. I got the 30-second, I got the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 minute. I got all the versions. And they be like, "You a good sales lady." Thank you. That's my that's really what my job comes down to as the CEO. My job is to sell and to get y'all to listen to me and to be as engaging as possible. And it's easy for me to do that because I love Stursi. I love what we are building. I believe in this product so much. And just the and where we're going, what we're building, and all the opportunities there. As many as hard as all the hard days that there are, as hard as it is, I know that we are walking in our purpose and that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing and that we just have to stay the course. And so it is absolutely a joy and a privilege to be able to share our story and to share Stursi with people. And maybe that is, I wouldn't say that it's surprising, but I would say maybe it's like a surprise and a delight. Just like how I never I literally I'm saying the same thing all the time and I never get tired of it because it's every person, it's a new opportunity. I never know who I'm going to meet. I never know how this product or this story is going to connect with them and impact them or how it will impact our business and where it's going to lead. And I'm all about also too, spreading joy. And so whenever somebody come up to the thing, I'm like, thank you. Like you could have chosen to go anywhere in this room and you came here. Thank you. I'm happy to see you. Now let's talk about Stursi.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. They could have gone anywhere, but they chose to come to you. And then that's your opportunity. Front
Mhm.
row, come get it.
That's right. That's right. It's the Stursi stage. I got to represent.
For sure, for sure. And talking about representation, especially as a woman founder, a Black woman founder in consumer brands, how do you see yourself, in this space? What legacy do you hope to leave behind? I know that's a weighty question, but I wanted to put that out front, because you talked about this industry being capital intensive, all these things, but yeah, what do you hope to leave behind here?
I would say I just want people, I hope that Stursi and what we're doing is just an example for people that whatever it is that they want to create, whatever it is that they want to bring to life in the world, that they can do it. And they just have to start. They don't have to know all the answers. They don't have to know how it's going to get done. They just have to start and they have to trust themselves to figure it out along the way. And that is how I have lived my entire life, career. So many times I left a job and I didn't have a plan of what I was going to do next, but I knew that it was time to close that chapter and that God would reveal the way if I opened myself up and made space for that new opportunity to come in. And it is Lord, no, I know it's scary. I know it is scary, but that is really what I'm about what I want to leave with people is to follow their joy and to trust themselves that they will figure it out along the way.
Wow. Wow.
I appreciate it.
Gems, gems, gems. Awesome. Well, that ends like our formal question. So we're gonna go into the quick game that we talked about earlier.
Alright.
So the game is called Sip or Skip. Okay. I'm gonna name just like a few type of like beverage options, trends within the beverage mocktail industry, and you tell me whether it's a sip or skip. Okay.
Let's do it.
So the first one is functional beverages with 15 plus ingredients.
Skip, big skip.
And why do we skip that?
Because it is so many of these ingredients, there are value to some of them. Some of them are based in like ancient traditions and things that have been going on for a long time. But a lot of people are doing stuff because it's trendy and because they think it'll sell, not because they're actually doing something that like they really have a connection to and that has heart. They see an opportunity in this. Like I said, this is one of the fastest growing categories in beverage is the adult non-alcoholic. And so there's new products coming out all of the time, and very little of it is of quality. And so there's so many people that are just creating beverages and just like kind of like rubber stamp. Oh, I think that thing is selling. Let's just pretty much copy what's on the back of that can and put our own version out and hope it sells. And that's not how we do things. And there's a lot of people, like, there's plenty of people who are looking for those types of ingredients. There's also a lot of people like me and my sister who are not, who don't want those types of ingredients, and who just are, like, just want a cocktail experience. So, that's why I would skip that, 'cause a lot of people, they can't pronounce them, they don't know what it is, and I think it's just people a lot of people are just doing a lot of copy and cat without really yeah, copying without truly creating something meaningful and different that really adds to the space and the experience.
Agree. And it's crazy that you said copy because this next one I think it's pretty copy and pasty too, but you let me know. So celebrity backed beverage brands.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna skip. I'm definitely gonna skip. I think there are very few there are like a handful of celebrities that, like, maybe have, like, a real connection to what they're building and what they uniquely bring, and I've read, like, some think pieces on this to show, like, or that were, like, evaluating the difference between, like, what are the types of celebrity partnerships that are successful versus the ones that aren't, um, and it's really and really what it came down to is that if they're not truly integrated into that brand and that business, and it is something that's actually, like, meaningful to them, and they're kinda just here for the moment and they're gone. There's that there's that spike in the sales for when they're involved, and then but it's like, they're renting an audience for that period of time. Whereas if they really are in it for the long haul, then, you can really reap the benefits of it. Because of course, yeah, again, so much of this too is visibility and getting people, getting in front of people so that they know you exist and to try the product. But your product has to be has to provide value on your product, your brand, the experience. Not only is it hard enough to get people to know about you and try it in the first place, what are you offering that keeps them coming back, where they want to make this a part of their lives, where they're going to keep buying? That's what builds the business, is the repeat buyers who are coming back time and time again. And so the quality of your product and your brand and what you're providing has to engender that repeat purchase, and those people who really, they wanna be a part of your community. They wanna tell people about your brand. They wanna tell help you tell your story.
I agree. I agree. It can't just be a stamp. Like it cannot just be because you have a big follower. Like it has to connect. It has, and I think now in this era, post COVID, people are looking for authenticity, not just a rubber stamp. Like we're past that. So
Yep.
I'm glad that that resonated. So shifting from the game, one last question. I guess like what's an underrated trend in the beverage space right now that you can think of?
An underrated trend that, you know, I think I'm answering this question. I think I am. I'm going to say this is not a trend. This is so pretty much I'm gonna speak specifically about non-alcoholic cocktails, so the mocktails. Like, everything on the market is carbonated, and we intentionally did not carbonate Stursi, these first 3 flavors, because most alcoholic cocktails are not sparkling, and Like, we know, like, part of a cocktail is like that is that mouthfeel, and that's why a lot of the mocktails on the market are carbonated because it wants to do something interesting on your tongue. But because like everything on the market is carbonated, it really is like it's kind of a crutch to create that kind of interesting make that interesting thing in your mouth. We think it's very easy to carbonate a product. So we purposely made ours not carbonated so that folks have the option to do what they want with it. So I'm gonna say non-carbonation is underrated.
I love it. I love it. Well, Lex, it was such a great time having you here on the show. Where can the audience find you in Stursi? Well, where can they find? Where can they buy?
Yes, absolutely. I have no idea if this is gonna be like a video or not, but I'm gonna pull out my Stursi can here. People can go to Stursi.com. So that's Stursi, Stursi.com. We manufacture in Maryland and we ship all over the country. And if you're a first timer, definitely get that tasting flight where you get one of all three of our award-winning flavors. Oh, that's right. I gotta tell y'all, all three of our flavors won in the New York City Zero Proof Choice Awards in blind tastings with cocktail experts. And we also just won a BevNet Spirits Award for Best New Non-Alcoholic Cocktail. So they are really, really, really good, y'all. Okay. It's been certified. Okay. So yes, go to Stursi.com, get your tasting flight so you can try them for yourself.
What a great episode. I learned so much from you, and I'm so proud of you, proud of Liv, just proud of what you guys have built together and just the ways that you are inspiring so many people with the work that you're doing. Thank you so much, Lex. Thanks for joining the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Stursi is a masterclass in building with intention from product to purpose. Thank you again, Lex, and see you all in the next episode.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. If this episode gave you a new way to think about product leadership, share it with someone else who's building in the tech space today. You can follow my work on LinkedIn through my weekly series, Tech Tuesdays with KJ, and subscribe to the newsletter on Substack, which is Solostar by KJG.substack.com. And I'll link all of that into the show notes for you all. But let's continue to build at the intersection of product, cloud, and AI. Until next time, keep building.